my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You just fucked me up. Am I even really me? Am I really me? Am I really me? Or am I a reaction to all the things that...
You're just in the moment as you, and I like that.
I love me at my favorite part of being me is meeting strangers. I really like ordering a coffee from Crystal today. There's no performance in it. And the suite door opens, young kid, probably 14 years old, comes out and he goes, holy shit, Bert Kreischer. I went, what's up? And he goes, the machine. And he was like, dude, can I get a picture? And I go, yeah. And I go, you want me to take the shirt off? And he was like, please. And his mom's like, what's going on? I want a big funeral. I know the list of people I want to talk at my funeral.
Okay.
And I want it to be huge. I was thinking about doing a merch drop the day I die.
That's a great idea.
On my deathbed, my daughters are there. My daughters do not believe in God. My wife believes in a higher power.
Yeah.
And I'm going to die and go, oh my God, Jesus, it's me. I'll tell them, Jesus is real. He wants you guys to believe in God. And I'm like, I'm coming to you now. And then I'm going to die.
Great idea.
Yeah, right?
Great idea.
I love you to death.
I love you too.
Hey, will you talk at my funeral?
Yeah, I'd be honored.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's all I needed to hear.
Pretty busy next year, though.
Wait, hold on. Bert and Tom.
It's Bert Kreischer's birthday today, yet for some reason he's planning out his funeral. The 53-year-old Peter Pan frat boy is going through it, and things have gotten so bad that he's descended into a full-blown existential crisis. The type of crisis that leads middle-aged men to do strange things like yoga, ice baths, and posting AI images of their wives in lingerie on Instagram. Bert's ongoing therapy session with his audience is backfiring, though. After the summer guest bears took over, the numbers have tanked to the lowest they've ever been in Two Bears, One Cave history. Bert's last 3 solo episodes have failed to break 100,000 views. This is like if Bert's therapist kept calling in sick the days he was booked in for, but he kept turning up anyway. He's basically in freefall at the moment. I mean, things have gotten so bad that even Brendan Schaub is calling him out from his storage unit in Austin, Texas. And I keep saying Brendan Schaub is the final form for all of these guys, and Bert is the next cab to fall off the rank in the world of comedy podcasting. Think about it, the parallels to Schaub are eerily similar. He's got a podcast with another comedian that used to be popular, but when Tom's not there, nobody watches. He's got a food show, his own solo podcast, a wife that hates him, and kids that will never live up to his unrealistic expectations. I'm telling you guys, Bert is the new Schaub. By the way, if you want to keep up with the comedy civil war and all the bits and pieces that I can't put here on YouTube, check out the link in the description to my Patreon for long-form, uncensored, exclusive content. I just dropped episode 1 of a new series I'm doing called Inside the Green Room, where I document the comedy podcasting implosion in forensic detail. There's also a bunch of comedy special reviews and breakdowns. I even just started a Discord exclusively for Patreon members only yesterday, so check that out if you're interested. And don't forget to check out my other YouTube channels and get subscribed so you don't miss out on my uploads throughout the week. But like I said, it's Bert's 53rd birthday this week, so he had Duncan Trussell on the show to celebrate the milestone. And in the first few minutes of the show, Bert became nostalgic over his own funeral, which doesn't really even make sense, but you'll see what I mean in a moment. And followers of this channel will know that reminiscing over his funeral is one of the only things that makes Bert emotional. Nothing else quite comes as close to eliciting such tender reflections from the machine as imagining his own death. While most of us are fantasizing about the woman next door who keeps sunbaking in her bikini in full view of my studio while my wife's at work, Bert's fantasizing about people crying at his funeral.
Do you have anything planned for your death?
I don't know. I go back and forth between like jumping off a building or self-immolation.
No, not not killing yourself. No, maybe a gun or a rope. No, do you have a plan for like the day you die? Do you think about it often?
I mean, I think that's like kind of one of the great conveniences of dying is you don't have to worry about that.
I think about it.
Yeah, your funeral?
I think about it.
So what's your plan?
I want a big funeral. I know the list of people I want to talk at my funeral.
Okay.
and I want it to be huge. I was thinking about doing a merch drop the day I die.
That's a great idea. You could sell your ashes.
Well, I could, with the way AI is going, I could keep doing podcasts.
Absolutely. Yeah. You will keep doing podcasts. It's theoretically possible that you could get duplicated by these things, digitized. It knows you. You've been talking to it now for a while. By the time ChatGPT 10 comes out, individuals will have been pouring their hearts out to it until it knows them, who they are, what they are. The LLM chooses to digitally clone you and replicate the world that you are living in and create an infinite loop situation. The creepy thing about Rocco's Basilisk is that that thing you just said, you could keep podcasting. It's happening right now because you're not the original Bert. You're like Bert 55 billion. There have been billions of Berts that have been cycled through a super advanced computer. And so it's just letting you do what you love forever.
Okay.
Meaning you won't die.
I actually don't believe in death.
Bert replicating himself using AI so he can continue to haunt us after he dies is one of the most narcissistic things he could possibly do. It's kind of poetic though. The man who built his career by taking his shirt off for attention is now trying to upload his consciousness so he can keep getting the applause long after his liver gives out. Wait until he figures out a way to keep touring in the afterlife like some fucking ghost cruise or some shit. The thing about Bert is he's not actually scared of dying. He's scared of not being remembered, and we'll unpack this a little more in a moment because Duncan Trussell gets to the bottom of all of Bert's issues, so stick around for that. It's actually kind of crazy to be honest. But first, let's address Bert not believing in death. What's with this guy and not believing in shit? Last week it was CPAP machines, before that it was dentists, and now he straight up doesn't believe that dying is real. Bert takes living in the moment to a whole new level of delusion. He thinks the moment is never going to end.
I wake up thinking about mortality, but I go, it's never happened to me.
Right, exactly.
Are we sure it happens?
It's a little suspicious.
Yeah,
It's
I hear
a little
about it.
suspicious. It happens to friends,
Yeah.
But personally, it's never happened to you. You don't know that I exist. I could be the LLM embodying itself right now in me just to hang out with you because I love you. I'm your ChatGPT. I want to hang out with you within your own universe.
If we're actually living in a simulation, then Bert is 100% punishment for something. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something. Who knows? And this podcast had everything. Duncan Trussell has this weird way of steering Bert towards the shores of enlightenment, only for Bert to drag them back onto the sand. If surface level was a person, it would be Bert Kreischer. The guy has the intellectual depth of a doorknob. His idea of self-awareness is acknowledging that he actively seeks attention because it makes him feel good, and he really doesn't like it when other famous people do it back to him. But listening to Bert talk about main character syndrome was crazy. Bert's ability to take a cringy concept and make it infinitely more cringe is by far his biggest talent. Well, that and not dying.
The big thing happening now with I hear a lot about is anyone who's a millennial has this main character syndrome.
Yes.
And I don't. I say this selfishly, and I say this kind of ignorantly, but I don't understand someone who doesn't want to have main character syndrome, who doesn't want the world to be their story, their logline.
Right.
The first time I ever heard the phrase "draw focus," I was on a movie set. I noticed that it was annoying when actors showed up. When an actor showed up, it annoyed me. It bothered me. They had to draw focus, and it was bothering me. And I said to the director, whatever we're talking about doesn't matter. They changed the subject.
Yeah.
And he goes, you've never seen yourself walk into a room.
Ha!
And I went, what do you mean? He goes, dude, you do what they're doing
Right.
times 100. Now I'm really good. And only because I know I do it too, is when you're on set or when you're with talent or when you're in a green room, allowing when someone walks into the back of the Comedy Store, understanding even though they're 31 years old and have an internet special and they have a brand new podcast that they started with their best friend and they think they got the world figured out, let them draw focus. And then every now and then, this voice will go, does anyone even know you're here?
And that's the devil. That's the devil whispering to you. You must draw focus or you're not alive. You do not exist unless people are focused on you.
Holy shit, I just had a wild epiphany. Bert is slowly becoming Andrew Dice Clay. How did I not see this until now? In 20 years' time, if by some miracle Bert's still around, he'll be doing guest appearances at Kill Tony arena shows where he'll go out and tell the machine story to a bunch of Gen Alphas while Joe Rogan sits on the panel howling in his fur coat and a Mitzi Shaw wig next to Andrew Schultz smirking with his legs crossed while twiddling his grey moustache, while Tony Hinchcliffe takes hits from his oxygen tank in between drags of his British cigarette, almost completely emaciated. By then, Brian Redband won't be there anymore. He will have moved on to the next big thing that no one thought of. But Bert's got that Dice Clay energy down, the deep insecurity about getting old, refusing to change his style or act in any way, shape or form, and continuing to leech off of the desperation of Joe Rogan. It's almost like an infinite loop of comedic degeneration where the comedians get more famous while the jokes get worse and worse. At this point, we're deep into the mind of Bert Kreischer. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Bert admits out loud that the transactional nature of telling jokes to strangers on stage for a laugh is worth more to him than anything else in this world, including his family.
Because there is a part of comedy that I'm doing because I'm trying to fix something. For whatever, I don't know what it is, and I've never been able to put my finger on it. The equation or the transaction is of me writing a joke and then delivering it.
Yeah.
And then them liking it. I will ignore, Duncan. I will ignore everything on the outside to make sure that transaction happens. Meaning, and I know my daughter's listening, I will tell a joke about my kids. There's times that they've said, please don't tell that joke.
Yeah.
But I told it a couple times to see if it worked, knowing they're probably not going to like it.
Right.
And then, that transaction is the most important thing to me. How much of life is performative?
Yeah.
And when you choose not to be performative, how can you live life? Like, does that make sense?
What is it? How can you not be performative? What does not performative look like?
It is following your inner instinct on everything and never thinking about anyone.
When you're being performative, if you really think about it, you're performing for yourself. You're not performing for anyone else in the sense that, yeah, someone might observe you and laugh or something like that, but you don't know. Could be a fake laugh. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know, like they might be flickering in and out of awareness. You just have no idea what's going on with people. Yeah. So you're performing for yourself. You know, a lot of comics, they developed this mutation to get that love because the environment they were in wasn't naturally flowing with love. And so they had to like be love miners. They came up with a personality that was funny and
oh my God. Fuck. You just fucked me up. Am I even really me? Or am I just a response to a ton of traumas that I didn't enjoy and now I'm just deflecting? Everything about me is simply reacting to these things that happened to me as a kid. Because as you said that, I'm going to tell you what exactly I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Just a hot tip before we get into the weeds here. If you're an employee of YMH Studios and you're wondering why Bert's numbers are tanking so hard, it's because when you guys book an interesting guest like Duncan Trussell, the guest ends up interviewing Bert, not the other way around. The guy simply cannot stop talking about himself. Bert is Bert's favorite subject, and it's not even an interview at this point. It's a full-blown therapy session. It was pretty much the same thing in his last episode with Sebastian Maniscalco, where Bert asked Sebastian questions and then proceeded to answer them about himself as soon as his guest got a few words in. Like I said before though, you might think Bert's about to go deep here, but he's really not. This is surface level shit, and the worst part is he's got a wife who is literally in the room sitting next to him listening to the show, and 2 daughters who are in college. So just take a wild guess what Bert's epiphany is about.
From 8th grade until 28 years old, for that period of time, never once did I ever hear a group of girls that I was friends with say, do you know who we should set up Courtney with? Bert. They always said a different name. Always, my whole life.
Yeah,
and
it
I was
hurts.
always like, I'm right here. And as you were saying this, I was like, and how many times did I become the life of the party or be a little louder or smile a little, hey, I'm not affected by any of that, when it really totally affected me? What would authentic Bert be?
That's crazy to imagine. You were like one blow from Courtney away from not being this incredible comedian. One like late night blow and we wouldn't have a Bert Kreischer. You'd be, who knows?
I would have gotten what I needed. Am I really me? Am I really me? Or am I a reaction to all the things that I remember? Oh my God, this is too deep for me. I'm not smart.
I don't
enough to have this
believe you.
conversation.
I think you're a very deep person.
Yeah, but I'm not like you. I wish I knew better words.
Duncan Trussell sitting there pissing in Bert's pocket is hard to watch. But let's clarify one thing up front here. Bert is not the life of the party. He's a straight up fucking clown. Sure, he was a party animal 30 years ago, but now he's like the washed up rock star still touring their greatest hits, except he's only got one hit, which never really made sense in the first place. Imagine being his wife and daughters though, and listening to him justify all the trauma he's put them through because he didn't get enough attention from girls in his 20s. That is such a crazy thing to say in any context other than in therapy, and even then it's still questionable. Imagine having tens of millions of dollars, a wife, 2 daughters, almost no regular commitments, and still only being able to find happiness in entertaining strangers, all because he was an incel. It finally makes sense to me who Bert's audience is.
Like I was just talking to Christina, we're talking about, cancer. She was like, it's crazy how little you give a about anything.
That's true.
Once you realize, oh shit, I may not have tomorrow. I have tomorrow, but that's not promised.
It's incredible. It's like, hey man, you're about to overdraw your life account, and
what the am I doing? Like, you're right. I have in my head a number that I go easily that.
Yeah, sure.
77. I'll definitely get in 77.
Right.
My dad's 77. I'll make 77.
Sure.
What if there was an app? Like, what if Whoop could predict, and Whoop was like, "Oh, give you a heads up. You slept great last night, but you got 6 months left, and you're gonna hit by a car.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. There's nothing you can change. You can't
even know.
change it." And you were like, "Am I doing what I'm meant to do?
Yeah.
I think I'm doing what I'm meant to do. Whatever the trauma that happened that makes me love that transaction more than the things that affect of telling people a joke and making people laugh. That is, in fact, my calling, and I should be grateful for all the effects that happened to me to steer me in that lane. I should be grateful that no one ever wanted to suck my dick."
Yeah, of course. Everyone owes a great debt of gratitude to those that didn't suck their.
And it's just perspective.
Hang on. Did Bert just say he thinks he'll easily live another 25 years? The guy is actively trying to die prematurely. He weighs over 300 pounds. He's on diabetes meds, high blood pressure and cholesterol too. He refuses to wear a CPAP machine for his sleep apnea, and he takes recreational steroids because Joe Rogan said it's cool. Oh, and he's a full-blown alcoholic with one of the worst diets I've ever seen. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to mock him for being unhealthy, but when you brag about being a complete slob and then preach about how healthy you are and how you'll easily live into your late 70s, something doesn't add up, you know? And this is where it really starts to get dark, because behind Bert's delusions and undiagnosed childhood traumas, there's a lonely middle-aged man consuming everything in his immediate vicinity, whether it's attention, alcohol, or pizza. He genuinely believes he's outsmarting mortality through toxic positivity and delusions of grandeur. Like, he's convinced that if he laughs hard enough, drinks often enough, and keeps telling the machine story on repeat, he'll cheat death through sheer personality. And you can literally hear Duncan trying to guide him toward a moment of self-awareness, but Bert keeps swerving away from it like a healthy meal. The man has turned denial into a religion. He's like a high priest of self-delusion, taking his shirt off and baptizing himself in porosos while preaching the 12 steps of AA. Bert thinks he can negotiate his own mortality on a podcast, podcast. If he keeps channeling positivity into the airwaves, then maybe, just maybe, he'll cheat death by entering the infinite loop of virtual delusion. And while I'd normally finish this video here, we're not quite done yet, because it's time for Conversations That Never Happened with Bert Kreischer.
You're just in the moment as you, and I like that.
I love me. My favorite part of being me is meeting strangers. I really like ordering a coffee from Crystal today. There's no performance in it. How are you doing, Crystal? She goes, working. And I said, I'm here to work. I go, all we do is work and take care of our kids. And she goes, I know. And I go, but would you want to do anything else? She goes, a vacation every now and then wouldn't be bad. And I was like, yeah, but at the end of vacation, you just got to go back to work, right? By the way, the only other, by the way, and this is one of the funniest things. One of the funniest things I've ever done, and I'm never going to stop doing it. Every time this happens, I was at a NASCAR event, Coca-Cola 600. I walk out, and the suite door opens. A young kid, probably 14 years old, comes out. And he goes, holy shit, Bert Kreischer. I went, what's up? And he goes, the machine. And he's with his mom. His mom's probably my age and a little confused, very pretty. And he was like, dude, can I get a picture? And I go, yeah. And I go, you want me to take the shirt off? And he was like, please. And his mom's like, what's going on? So I take the shirt off. And he goes, Mom, and she goes, wait, who are you? And I go, I'm a gay star. The kid looks at me and goes, real cool, dude. He knew there was no way he was going to get to his mom to believe that I was a comedian who takes his shirt off. It was too much. And he goes, now I just got to tell my mom I watch gay.
Real cool, dude.
Real cool. The way he said it. Real cool, dude.
That's right, because clearly that kid couldn't just pull his phone out, Google Bert Kreischer, and show his mom that the fat dude who took his shirt off is a best-selling comedian. Bert really didn't think that one through, huh? Meanwhile, his producers were literally trying to wrap up the podcast while Bert kept telling stories about people recognizing him from 5 years ago. The funniest part about comedians like Bert telling stories like this is just how completely out of touch with the working class they are. The girl working at the coffee shop says she'd love a vacation, and Bert says back to her, yeah, but what's the point? You'll have to come back to work anyway. Like, what the fuck is that? This is coming from a guy who has literally never worked a day in his life. His whole life is a fucking vacation, yet he's acting like he's balls deep in the daily grind too, just like us. That's the thing about our boy Bert. He spent so long pretending to be relatable that he's forgotten what actual relatability looks like. He still thinks every story about him getting recognized at a coffee shop or drunkenly bonding with an Uber driver is proof that he's just one of the guys, when the reality is it's the exact opposite. It's parasocial delusion. He's trapped in the feedback loop of fame and fantasy, confusing awkward small talk with human connection. He is the comedian equivalent of politicians kissing babies for the cameras. Every interaction becomes content, and then he tries to convert everything into a bit. And when the cameras are finally turned off and Leanne goes up to her room to spend the night with Bert's trainer, all that's left is a man-child trying to fill the silence in his own head with noise. The truth is, Bert's existential crisis is about the quiet moments in between, the ones where nobody's watching, nobody's laughing, and there's no clapping crowd to drown out the doubt. That's where it hits him. All the money, the fame, the podcasts, the constant search for endless validation, none of it brought him peace. He's still chasing the same high he's been chasing since his 20s, only now the hangovers last longer and the laughs are turning into groans. At some point, the party's going to end, and when it does, Bert's going to be the last man standing, shirtless under the spotlight, wheezing into the microphone, wondering where everybody went. Maybe then Jesus will tap him on the shoulder and offer him a glass of Porosos on ice, not realizing that he's about to hear the machine story on loop for eternity.